10 Florida towns retirees regret moving to and why. Every year, more than 300,000 people pack up their lives and move to Florida, chasing the same dream: no state income tax, year-round sunshine, and a slower pace of life. But talk to enough of them 5 years later, and you'll hear a different story. Some of the most popular retirement towns in Florida have quietly become the ones people regret moving to the most. Today we're breaking down 10 of them, and the real reasons why. Number 1. The Villages. The Villages markets itself as the friendliest hometown in America, and for a lot of retirees, the pitch works perfectly. Golf carts instead of cars, more than 50 golf courses, live music every night in the town squares. People sell their homes up north, move down, and for the first year or two, it feels like paradise. Then the cracks start to show. The Villages has grown so fast that traffic on the main roads now rivals rush hour in a mid-sized city, just with golf carts mixed in with pickup trucks. HOA and amenity fees have crept up year after year, and residents who moved for an affordable retirement are now paying bills that rival what they left behind. And because nearly everyone here is retired, some residents say the isolation from younger generations, from grandkids, from a normal cross-section of life, starts to wear on them by year 3 or 4. The lesson: a community built entirely around one lifestyle can feel like a theme park at first and a bubble later. Number 2. Cape Coral. Cape Coral was sold as the boating capital of Southwest Florida, with more canals than Venice, Italy. Retirees bought waterfront lots at what felt like a bargain compared to Naples or Sarasota, pictured themselves fishing off their own dock every morning. What a lot of new residents didn't fully account for was insurance. Cape Coral sits in one of the highest risk flood and hurricane zones in the entire state, and homeowners' insurance premiums here have more than doubled in the last 5 years, for many residents, in some cases forcing people to sell homes they'd only owned for 2 or 3 years. Add in the fact that Cape Coral was hit hard by Hurricane Ian in 2022, with entire neighborhoods still rebuilding years later, and the dream of cheap waterfront living has turned into one of the most expensive insurance markets in the country. Number 3. Port St. Lucie. Port St. Lucie gets pitched as the affordable alternative to Palm Beach. Close enough to the coast, far enough from the price tag, retirees moved in by the tens of thousands over the last decade for exactly that reason. The problem is that Port St. Lucie grew almost too fast for its own infrastructure. Longtime residents describe a town that was designed for a fraction of the people now living there, with 2-lane roads never built to handle the current traffic, and a healthcare system that hasn't kept pace with an aging population moving in specifically for retirement. Wait times at some local clinics and specialists have become a running complaint in local Facebook groups, a serious issue for a population that needs consistent medical care. Number 4. Kissimmee. Kissimmee is technically a retirement destination, but it sits right next door to Orlando's theme park corridor, and that proximity cuts both ways. Some retirees love being 20 minutes from grandkids visiting Disney. Others didn't realize what living next to the tourism industry actually means day to day. Traffic on Highway 192 during peak season can turn a 15-minute errand into an hour. Short-term vacation rentals have moved into formerly quiet residential neighborhoods, bringing a rotating cast of tourists instead of neighbors. And property taxes and insurance in Osceola County have climbed as the area's popularity and its hurricane exposure both increased. Number 5. Ocala. Ocala built its reputation as horse country, rolling hills, a slower pace, none of the coastal hurricane risk. For retirees looking to escape both the cold and the coastline chaos, it looked like the answer. But Ocala's affordability has become its own trap. As word got out, the area saw a wave of new residents and investors, and home prices in some parts of Marion County have risen faster than local incomes or pensions could keep up with. Retirees who moved for a bargain a decade ago are now watching new arrivals pay double for the same size home, while property tax assessments rise to match. Number 6. Spring Hill. Spring Hill, north of Tampa, was one of Florida's original affordable retirement havens, built out in the 70s and 80s specifically to house retirees on fixed incomes. For a long time, that's exactly what it delivered: Today, some residents describe a town that hasn't reinvested in itself the way nearby Tampa suburbs have. Local infrastructure, from roads to shopping centers, is aging alongside the population it was built for. And without the tax base of newer, wealthier developments, some longtime residents feel like the town's best days are behind it rather than ahead. Number 7. Sun City Center. Sun City Center is one of the original age-restricted retirement communities in Florida, and for decades it delivered exactly what it promised: a quiet, structured, all-inclusive retirement lifestyle. The trade-off some residents didn't fully weigh going in: an age-restricted community means almost total separation from working-age adults and children. Some residents who move here in their 60s, active and independent, find that by their 70s and 80s, the lack of nearby family-oriented infrastructure, from full-service hospitals to varied social circles, becomes a real limitation rather than a lifestyle choice. Number 8. Palm Coast. Palm Coast was one of the fastest-growing small cities in America for much of the last 2 decades, pitched as a quiet coastal alternative to the crowded I-95 corridor further south. That rapid growth is exactly what some longtime residents point to as the problem. Palm Coast population has roughly tripled since the early 2000s, and local schools, roads, and emergency services have had to play constant catch-up. For retirees who moved here specifically to escape the fast growth and traffic of South Florida, watching Palm Coast go through the same boom has felt like the problem followed them. Number 9. Homosassa. Homosassa gets marketed on its old Florida charm: manatees, quiet rivers, a fraction of the price of the coasts. For retirees looking for something authentic and slow-paced, it checks every box on paper. The trade-off is access. Homosassa is a genuine drive from major hospitals, major airports, and the kind of specialist medical care an aging population eventually needs. What feels peaceful and secluded at 65 can feel isolating and inconvenient at 80. Especially for retirees whose health needs change faster than they expected. Number 10. Port Charlotte. Port Charlotte was pitched for years as one of the last true bargains on Florida's Gulf Coast. Waterfront access without the Naples or Sarasota price tag. Then Hurricane Ian made landfall almost directly on top of it in 2022. Entire neighborhoods were devastated. And years later, some streets are still dotted with homes under repair or rebuilt from the slab up. Insurance premiums in Charlotte County are now among the highest in the state, and some retirees who bought their dream bargain home a few years before the storm have watched their carrying costs multiply past what they budgeted for in retirement. So what's the actual pattern here? It's rarely the sunshine or the lack of income tax that retirees regret. It's the things that don't show up in the brochure. Insurance costs that double after you've already moved, infrastructure that can't keep up with growth, and communities that trade convenience for isolation once health needs change. Florida can absolutely deliver on the dream. It just tends to reward the people who research the fine print before they sign, not after. If you're planning your own move, or you already made one of these 10 and have your own story, drop it in the comments below. And if you want more honest breakdowns like this one before you make a 6-figure decision, subscribe, because we've got a lot more of these coming.